In this Q&A session, you're going to learn all sorts of things about starting your business, from whether you need an LLC to an S Corp, how to protect your brand, and also things like business licenses, insurance, and other questions you might have. So stick around and see what you can learn and start your business. Do I need an S Corp or an LLC? It's a great question, although the way it's framed is actually kind of a misnomer. It's not an LLC or an S Corp. Actually, the LLC is the liability thing. That's what's protecting your personal assets from lawsuits and all that sort of stuff. The S is actually your tax status. It's not LLC or, it can actually be LLC and, meaning you can be an LLC that files as an S. It's a common misnomer. Even accountants sometimes use it incorrectly. But what you want to do if you're starting a business is you file your LLC and then you go to an accountant and say, how should I file my taxes? You can file as a sole proprietor, as a partnership, or as an S, or even a C, but no one does that. So really, you're just looking on whether you file this one-page election to become an S. But that's a really good question. We get it all the time. The answer that you need to know is file the LLC, and then later you figure out whether you want to be an S or not. And you can use an accountant or CPA to help you with that. How do I protect my business name and logo? Excellent question. That is an intellectual property question. So the way you protect your business name is through what's called a trademark. The two ones you'll hear a lot is trademark and copyright. Trademark is anything related to your brand. Let's take Nike. The word Nike is the name of the brand. The swoosh is the logo that tells you who it is. Also, just do it. That's a tagline related to, that tells you who you're buying. You know, there's a shirt that says just do it. You know who that's from. So those are trademarks to protect your brand. You know, increasingly online, you want to be getting a trademark as soon as you possibly can. I would say as soon as you're making money. They're expensive. For example, our firm charges $2,000 just flat fee for them, but they cost a little bit of money. But you want to get those as soon as possible. The main thing you want to know when you're starting is to make sure your name is not already protected by someone else. So you don't want to get your Instagram account or website or whatever visibility you're looking for going, and then someone proverbially knocks on your door with a cease and desist letter saying, sorry, here's our trademark, and you never knew that you did anything wrong. So one, make sure you research your name, and two, go protect it yourself. So if someone else is diverting traffic to you, then you can go stop them. Also, lots of people have problems with their Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts, with lookalikes, hacks, things like that. When you own the trademark, you can go to Instagram and say, look, I'm the owner. I've got the trademark. I've got the LLC. I've got, my business license. And you can really show very quickly, I'm the real deal. Do I need a business license and how do I get one? Good question. Even out of our law firm, usually we have clients do their business license on their own. What you do is you go to whatever city or county you're in. So we're in Charleston, South Carolina. So if the business is in the city of Charleston, I would tell them to type in City of Charleston Business License Department. And then there will be a page on there telling them what they need to do to get a business license. So you might have to call, but usually there's a form. And the answer is, if you're running a business, most of the time the answer is yes. However, all the different cities and municipalities and counties, they all have different rules. So there's no blanket rule, but usually the answer is yes, just like everything else. This government thing is trying to get a little piece of their pie, get some sort of fee in there. They're usually not extremely expensive. Even if you work from home, a lot of them have home occupation, a business license for people who work out of their home. So you should be getting it. If you're doing something with the city or state or anything, you're going to be required to do it because they're going to make it, but you still are supposed to do it. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research, but it's easy research. So go make sure you are compliant. What legal documents should I have when working with clients? Really good question. And I'm going to take the assumption this is kind of a service provided thing. Let's say a client is paying you money for you delivering some sort of service, let's say marketing, coaching, personal training, legal services, anything like that, which is a lot of what online business is anytime we're working with a client. So you need a client agreement. This agreement needs to spell out, one, prevent the scope creep. That is, you have a client, let's say you're designing a logo for, how many times are you going to revise it until they're happy? Because what can happen is they never get happy and then they never pay you. Which brings me to the second one, is make sure you have clauses in there to make sure you get paid. We use a 4-part process actually to make sure that clients are paying you. It's important to have the right clauses. If you look at our drafted legal templates, they all have them in there. You need to drive urgency and make sure that you're getting paid. Scope creep is also part of that by defining exactly when you're done. You need to know, like, hey, I've met my obligation. Now it's your time to pay the remainder of it. But take a look at the drafted legal documents. They're really good at making sure you get paid every time. How can I protect my business from lawsuits? Really broad question, but good question. There's a couple things you want to start with. First, it's going to be your LLC. That's going to end up being your catch-all. You also need the right contracts in there. Something like go to a lawyer and get them to draft you for you, or you can try the legal bundle, which has all the contracts you need. Anyone you work with, you need to have a contract to protect you. So I would say LLC, contracts, and then there's this one I just call conduct, and that's the front-facing one. How you handle a dispute is very important. So when someone sends you that nasty email, are you firing it back, lighting them up, or are you taking a deep breath to see how you can resolve it, hear them out, see what you can figure out? A lot of it can be solved on the second phase, let's say contracts. A lot of problems happen because people have a misunderstanding of each other's expectations. Who's doing what? What is the deliverable? When is it going to happen? How much am I going to pay? Am I going to be surprised at the end? So you want to be really, really clear. Our contracts make you be clear and set those expectations because that avoids the lawsuit. And then you also have the LLC so that if something goes totally wrong, that LLC protects you personally. You also, if you're in a high exposure, meaning if you're doing anything with health, physical fitness, you want to consider getting some sort of insurance, liability insurance, if someone really gets injured, catastrophically injured, something like that. And that's how you try to stay out of lawsuits. You just got to be prepared on the front end, look at the pitfalls, and set proper expectations. Do I need a co-founder agreement if I'm starting a business with a friend? Good question. Answer is yes. So friend actually probably means you need it more than anyone else. That's always a dicey thing. It can be great. Obviously, you hear some of these great stories about two people starting the biggest businesses in the world, really, as two friends starting the business. A lot of times, though, it doesn't work exactly like that. And one person thinks they're working harder than the other one, and one thinks they're more valuable, or the other one's being lazier, and money gets in the way. So defining what happens if someone wants to leave, defining what roles each other have, and then constantly communicating. We write operating agreements and agreements all the time, but there's really nothing you can do to prevent it. It's the job of the owners and the people running it to be in constant communication with each other and to be forthright with each other and be having the important conversations throughout the growth of the business so that they are handling it maturely and handling things respectfully. And it may be that that business partnership may not work out, but you still will have given it the best chance you can to work out. But an operating agreement is the proper place to go handle that contract. We do have an operating agreement. You can find it below or on Drafted Legal. And that's an operating agreement, so it goes for an LLC. You can define who owns what. Is it 50-50? And what the rules are if someone, passes away or something like that. All right, I hope that was helpful. Starting a business is awesome. It can be even more awesome if you can figure out how to avoid some of the problems that come with a business that can kind of derail you. So you always want to be looking at things like making sure you get an LLC. That's a no-brainer. Do it day one. And then get the right contracts in place. Use Drafted Legal. We have a great resource. The legal bundle is extremely popular and is excellent for people who have been in their business, either scaling or just starting. It makes you think about some of the pitfalls you might otherwise not think about, and it also gives you this awesome document that you can collect every time from your clients. So good luck, hope that helps. Drop any comments or questions down below.